So hi everyone and welcome back to the last video of the exercises in remote trainings part. In this video, I would like to summarize all the things that we learned about exercises in the last videos, and also I would like to give a brief recap on different aspects related with exercises. So first of all, why are we doing exercises? Well, the main reason is that exercises have a really high didactic value. So by doing something, by practicing something, we have a significant impact to the learning curve of our audience. And for that reason, exercises can be considered as a very valuable part of trainings, be it on-site or remote. Another benefit of exercises is that with exercises, we can address different purposes. So depending on the design of an exercise, you can use it as an opener, as a warm-up exercise, just for team activation or for recapitulation or practicing. And from the perspective of activation and group dynamics, we have to be aware that exercises have a significant contribution to the choreography of the whole trainings. So basically, we can say exercises are really a big thing in terms of trainings. But as you know, there is no such things as a free lunch. So this comes for a price or for a risk, to be more precise, because in exercises, we always have to mention different aspects. One of the most dominant aspects here is the factor of time. So as you probably know from on-site trainings, exercises are kind of risky to really exceed our time budget. So be it the initial explanation or question and answering in advance of an exercise, or maybe in the end when you have a resolution discussion and some of the participants don't want to stop talking, just as we normally don't as the trainers. So the timing factor is one critical element. The second element here is the factor of distraction or even the deflection from the intended path. Just for example, let's assume you provide a small case study to practice some method or concept, and then maybe the people start discussing the case study itself rather than the method or the concept that you want to practice. So that's the case when typically we as trainers or supervisors jump in and we try to bring them back on path and to adjust the focus, which of course is a little bit difficult in remote settings because you have to switch virtual rooms between virtual rooms, in contrast to on-site trainings where you really can oversee the whole training situation. So that's also an aspect that needs to be considered. And the last aspect here is that exercises carry the potential for frustration if they are not well designed, if participants are confused, or if they didn't understand the content right in advance before they practice it. So all in all, we have to say exercises are of great value, but we need to be aware of some certain aspects. Let's take a closer look on different aspects to keep in mind. So first of all, from the general perspective, as you probably know, same thing for on-site trainings, it's very important for all exercises that they really have a clear purpose and a goal. So if you invest some valuable time during the training for an exercise, then it really should be the goal to achieve a certain outcome. Yeah? That's the same thing in on-site trainings and remote trainings. And to improve efficiency as well, it's very important for every exercise that there is a clear task, which is understandable for the participants, and that the exercise is designed in a way that people can follow a more or less clear path. So to really do what you want them to do and to experience what you want them to experience. And this is again, this is our task as the trainers here to lead the exercise, to provide supervision, and just in case if they go to the left or to the right from the path, just to bring them back on track and help them experiencing the thing that we want them to experience. Yeah, and another aspect to be mentioned is that every exercise needs to have a reflection. So if you make an exercise, or if you give an exercise to the participants and you don't reflect on it later, then they don't have a feedback loop, and that's a kind of a lost investment. So if you run short on time, don't skip the the reflection at the end. But again, these things are common for on-site trainings as well. It's just a brief recap of things that you probably already know. And now let's take a little bit more closer look to specific aspects of remote exercises. So first of all, we need to be aware that in remote exercises, we involve much more infrastructure components than we would do in an on-site location in a hotel or somewhere. So all this infrastructure always carries the risk of introducing additional noise and distraction. So the risk is that people concentrate on technology, infrastructure, and tools and don't focus on the content of the exercise anymore. So whenever you want to design an exercise, strive for simplicity and efficiency. Simplicity means that the exercise is clear and focused, and efficiency means that there is no distraction, that people can work focused on the particular task. So typical aspects here are: avoid tool distraction and confusion, strive for clarity in every aspect of the exercise, especially in the description of the task, and in general, be sure to have a conscious and precise usage when you use exercises. Because even though you make them very efficient, hopefully, they still take a lot of time. So make decisions when and where you are going to integrate an exercise. The next aspect here, which is the more or less obvious topic, is the question of tool. So which tool should I use? And again, similar like in the drawing section, here I would say don't start with considering the tool, start with considering the exercise first. So go for the exercise design before you concentrate on the tool. This means whenever you design an exercise, know the purpose and the goal. Why are you doing it? Which experience would you like to share with the audience? The second thing is decide on the concept of the exercise and the choreography. We learned about different things like awareness exercises, activation exercises, practices, and reflection. And then the last step only is the tool selection, like answering the question, which tool can help me to realize my exercise concept in such a way that we achieve our goal of this practical part. And if we take a little bit closer look here to the tool selection, then we have already seen that one of the most important things is the topic of noise reduction. So whichever tool you select, consider easy learning, easy understanding, so that people don't need a lot of overhead time for understanding the tool, and easy entry, which means no installation required, no registration, no account, or whatever you can think about. So reduce everything, avoid everything that distracts them from the content. That's the one thing. The second thing is, of course, you don't want to use 17 different tools. So it's a good thing if you find one tool which is capable to realize different concepts. So we want to have a flexible tool which gives us different options. And with different options, we don't only mean the different options for the participants, for the exercise itself, but also we want to have options for an efficient facilitation and administration. Here I'm talking about the preparation, the facilitation itself, and maybe also in the end, the generation of a documentation. Because I guess most of you will have to write protocols after every training. When it comes to tools right here, I introduced my favorite class of tools, which are canvas-based tools. Of course, other tools exist, and if you have better experiences with other tools, I think it would be valuable if you share your experience in the comments. But from my perspective, I made good experiences with canvas-based tools such as Mural or Miro. Or maybe it's called Miro, I never know exactly. Anyway, we have considered Mural with different aspects, so you should be able to create and execute your exercises with that. And one thing that I didn't mention, I noted it here, is that such a canvas-based tool also gives you the option for a poster session. So maybe you prepared posters for your on-site trainings where you make the people move and watch a poster. Then of course you also could use such a poster here in the mural. Just take the PDF of your poster, integrate it in the mural, open it and let people browse over it, take notes, and you also have some additional part with activities. But same thing here, handle with care. So just because these tools can do many things for you, it doesn't mean you should do everything with them. So for some aspects, we also can find easy alternatives. Like for example, I don't know, MS Teams, for example, it provides an integrated survey and questionnaire. I guess it's called MS Forms. So which helps you to fetch some participants' opinion in the same tool that you already use for your virtual call. So this can be helpful. Some other thing that I like to do very often is, instead of having a discussion, which is always a little bit risky remote, we can use, for example, something that we call a waterfall chat. This means that you ask a question and everybody has to write an answer in the chat, but doesn't hit the enter key. And then after some time you say, and now hit the enter key. And like a waterfall, you get all the answers simultaneously. This also helps you to get a good picture of some opinions of the participants. It's in a choreography, so you can read it at the same time and they don't influence each other by reading what the others already have been writing, have written. Yeah, you also can combine this one, for example, with a guessing game. This is something that we also like to do in on-site trainings. So you can show pictures, ask questions, people have to guess something and provide the answer in a waterfall chat. This is also something that is very fast. It makes the people think, makes the people act, so they are activated again, and it doesn't take much time. Yeah, and the last one that we also shouldn't ignore is the option of working with pen and paper. And yes, this is also possible here. So I have several exercises here. I just want to tell you about one. It's a topic when we talk about architectural alternatives and decisions. So especially in software related topics, we are typically not so good in considering alternative architectures because we always have in our mind, it's just software, we can change it anyways. And I want to show participants in the training what happens if we don't actively drive a consideration or investigation of alternative architectures. And to demonstrate this effect, to show them an experience, or to deliver an experience, the exercise goes like this. I ask the people to, or I tell the people that they have a task and they have 12 seconds time. And when they are prepared, they have some pen and paper. I say, okay, I tell you something, and then you have 12 seconds time to fulfill the task. And then I give them the task and I say, draw a three-dimensional picture of a table in 12 seconds. And then I wait 12 seconds and I say stop, and they have to lay down their pen or pencil. And what we typically have is we have a situation where all the people draw a table. Where all the people draw a table like this. So what I do now in the end is I ask all the participants, who of you did draw a picture of a rectangular or a square table? And everyone raises their hand. Then I say, who of you did draw a picture of a table that has 4 feet? And everyone raises their hand. And then I'm asking the third question. It's 3 questions always, you know. I'm asking the third question, which is, who of you had in mind a picture of a table made of wood? And again, everyone raises their hand. And latest at that point, you always have a good laugh. Yeah? But the thing here is, you can tell them, okay, now we had 12 seconds time. We have, I don't know, 12 participants, and we found one architectural solution. But is this the best architectural solution that we can have? And they already start thinking. And then I say, well, typically, what happens when I put you under pressure is that you just jump into the first solution that comes to your mind. Yeah? Like with the table, I put pressure on them, 12 seconds, and they just deliver the first solution that comes to their mind. And this is exactly the same thing that we have, for example, in software. If I put pressure on people to develop an architecture, they will realize the first solution that comes to your mind. But if this is the best solution, we don't know. It's just the first solution coming to our mind. And at that moment, they already start thinking, and they already think about, yes, but we have to do it because we don't have time for a different solution. And then I'm showing them, I say, well, let's consider a different concept for this. And I'm introducing, now we come to a slide. Here on a new slide, I'm introducing them a concept, we call it morphological analysis, which basically has the idea that we decompose the system that we think about into individual aspects. And for every aspect, we search for different options. Like if we take the table, we can talk about the shape, the mounting, and the material. And if we just say we find 5 different options for every aspect, yeah, then we have 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. Then we have 125 different possible solutions. And if I give them the table to fill it out, it takes 12 seconds. Yeah? So with this simple exercise, I can demonstrate them what happens if we just start working, just jumping into the first solution. We all find the same. But by following a structured approach, we can find in the same time 125 different solution candidates. And this was just, I didn't tell it in the best possible way, but I think you get the point. So this is already a trigger that makes people think, that raises awareness how we deal with alternatives, why we don't search for alternatives, what happens in a typical project situation. And the exercise itself, together with the resolution, doesn't take more than 1.5 minutes. Okay? And so this is also some option where people use pen and paper, so physically work on their table again. And this can also be a good alternative instead of creating a mural exercise or something like that. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I hope this lecture on exercises in remote trainings was interesting for you. I hope you found some inspiration, and I really hope you did use the time between the videos to practice, to work, to experiment. And yeah, let's move on and have fun with integrating exercises to your remote trainings. And we will start the next lecture with the next video. And in the next lecture, we will talk about organization of remote trainings and some selected aspects which I find useful. So see you in the next lecture.